In this lecture, we will be examining the various marine biomes of the world. The biological communities in oceans and seas are poorly understood, but they are probably as diverse and as complex as terrestrial biomes. In this section, we will explore a few facets of these fascinating environments. Oceans cover nearly 3/4 of the Earth's surface, and they contribute in important, although often unrecognized ways to terrestrial ecosystems. Like land-based systems, most marine communities depend on photosynthetic organisms. Often, it is algae or tiny, free-floating photosynthetic plants, phytoplankton, that support a marine food web rather than the trees and grasses we see on land. In oceans, photosynthetic activity tends to be greatest near coastlines, where nitrogen, phosphorus, and other nutrients wash offshore and fertilize primary producers. Ocean currents also contribute to the distribution of biological productivity as they transport nutrients and phytoplankton far from shore. This figure shows satellite measurements of chlorophyll levels in the oceans and on land. Chlorophyll is a measure of biological activity as it is associated with photosynthesis. The dark green to blue land areas have high biological productivity. Dark blue oceans have little chlorophyll and are biologically impoverished. Light green to yellow ocean zones are biologically rich. The red areas represent the areas of greatest productivity. Ocean systems can be described by depth and proximity to shore. In general, the benthic communities occur on the bottom, and pelagic, from sea in Greek, zones are the water column. The epipelagic zone, epi equals on top, has photosynthetic organisms. Below this are the mesopelagic, meso equals medium, and bathypelagic, bathos equals deep zones. The deepest layers are the abyssal zone to 4,000 meters and hadal zone deeper than 6,000 meters. Shorelines are known as littoral zones, and the areas exposed by low tide is known as the intertidal zone. In this figure, we see a visual representation of the various zones. Light penetrates only the top 10 to 20 meters of the ocean. Below this level, temperatures drop and pressure increases, making these areas less biologically productive. Nearshore environments include the intertidal zones and estuaries, which, by contrast, are highly productive and rich in biodiversity. Deep sea thermal vent communities are another remarkable type of marine system that was completely unknown until 1977, when the deep-sea submarine Alvin descended to the deep ocean floor. These communities are based on microbes that capture chemical energy, mainly from sulfur compounds released from thermal vents, jets of hot water, and minerals on the ocean floor. Magma below the ocean crust heats these vents. Tube worms, mussels, and microbes on the vents are adapted to survive both extreme temperatures, often above 350 degrees centigrade, and intense water pressure at depths of 7,000 meters or more. Oceanographers have discovered thousands of different types of organisms, most of them microscopic, in these communities. Some estimate that the total mass of microbes on the seafloor represent 1/3 of all biomass on the planet. Coral reefs are among the best-known marine systems because of their extraordinary biological productivity and their diverse and beautiful organisms. Reefs are colonies of minute, colonial animals, coral polyps, that live symbiotically with photosynthetic algae. Calcium-rich coral skeletons shelter the algae, and algae nourish the coral animals. The complex structure of a reef also shelters countless species of fish, worms, crustaceans, and other life forms. Reefs occur where the water is shallow and clear enough for sunlight to reach the photosynthetic algae. They cannot tolerate abundant nutrients in the water, and nutrients support tiny floating plants and animals called plankton, which block sunlight. Reefs are among the most endangered biological communities. Sediment from coastal development, farming, sewage, and other pollution can reduce water clarity and smother coral. Destructive fishing practices include dynamite and cyanide poisoning have destroyed many Asian reefs. Reefs can also be damaged or killed by changes in temperature, by invasive fish, and by diseases. Coral bleaching, the whitening of reefs due to stress, often followed by coral death, is a growing and spreading problem that worries marine biologists. Coral bleaching is the loss of algae-like unicellular flagellate protozoa that are photosynthetic and live within the tissue of the coral in a symbiotic relationship. Bleaching occurs when the conditions necessary to sustain the coral's zooxanthellae cannot be maintained. Mangroves are a diverse group of salt-tolerant trees that grow along warm, calm marine coasts around the world. Growing in shallow, tidal mudflats, mangroves help stabilize shorelines, blunt the force of storms, and build land by trapping sediment and organic material. After the devastating Indonesian tsunami of 2004, studies showed that mangroves, where they still stood, helped reduce the speed, height, and turbulence of the tsunami waves. Detritus, including fallen leaves, collects below mangroves and provides nutrients for a diverse community of animals and plants. Both marine species, such as crabs and fish, and terrestrial species, such as birds and bats, rely on mangroves for shelter and food. Estuaries are bays where rivers empty into the sea, mixing fresh water with salt water. Salt marshes, shallow wetlands flooded regularly or occasionally with seawater, occur on shallow coastlines, including estuaries. Usually calm, warm, and nutrient-rich, estuaries and salt marshes are biologically diverse and productive. Rivers provide nutrients and sediments, and a muddy bottom supports emergent plants whose leaves emerge above the water surface, as well as the young forms of crustaceans such as crabs and shrimp, and mollusks such as clams and oysters. Nearly two-thirds of all marine fish and shellfish rely on estuaries and saline wetlands for spawning and juvenile development. Tide pools are depressions in a rocky shoreline that are flooded at high tide but retain some water at low tide. These areas remain rocky where wave action prevents most plant growth or sediment accumulation. Extreme conditions with frigid flooding at high tide and hot, desiccating sunshine at low tide make life impossible for most species. But the specialized animals and plants that do occur in this rocky intertidal zone are astonishingly diverse and beautiful.